how do you do? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this really is a red letter day for me, you know, to appear in this beautiful show, the fabulous Miss Judy Garland. It's terribly exciting for me. You know, I had heard of her, naturally, of course. What thrilled me to death was that she'd heard about me. Now, that really was something. And apparently she seemed rather keen to have me on the program, and so keen that she asked CBS, who apparently have something to do with this show, not only asked, there's CBS over there, she got CBS to put up the money for my fare from London all over here to California. Just a minute. How am I going to get back? Well, never mind. We'll think about that in due course. It is absolutely marvelous, and how thrilling it was to hear those two very great stars talking about me and mentioning my films. I can almost forgive them for leaving out a couple in which I have a financial interest. I don't know whether you've noticed or whether you know, but my films, up to the present moment in America, or mostly, have appeared in what are known as art houses. These are little cinemas, the 1 week show an English film, and the next week show a very, if I may use the word, sexy film. And then an English film, then a sexy film. Actually, until recent events in London, I'd failed to see any connection whatsoever. However, jolly nice to be here in America. I must say I like England in a way. I know that we have ghastly weather, you know, it's always raining and it's cold and there's fog, but when you come to think of it, there are always compensations. I mean, what is nicer than sitting in front of a log fire? Gets a bit boring round about July and August. By the way, I must tell you, talking about log fires, a few weeks ago I happened to be what is known in England as a boozer. This is a polite word for tavern or inn, and not the one who does it, as in your language. And this was a very lovely little inn. It was called the Old Pig and I was enjoying a very nice pint of Old and Filthy, and thoroughly enjoying this huge log fire. It was very early July, and we were all, the chaps there, were being entertained by a man and his dog. By the dog, not so much as the man, actually. And this dog was doing tricks, and the owner was an Irishman. I knew he was an Irishman because he was wearing a coat. And this dog did a most wonderful trick. I do wish you'd been there. It was simply marvelous. This Irishman got a piece of biscuit. He picked it up off the floor, actually. It was a bit of sort of ginger cracker or something. I'm quite certain about that, really, because it could have been a cheese cracker, really, because it had obviously been kicked around on the floor. Difficult to tell from the distance. It's nothing to do with the story, really. I think we can get on with it. I'll settle for a cheese cracker. Well, he put it on this dog's nose, and at a word of command, a filthy Irish oath, which I shan't offer. If it were the Red Skelton Show, I might slip it in, but... at a word of command, the dog went... slid it off and caught it on his tongue. Awfully clever. Do it the other end. I mean, the other side. So awfully. So I said to this chap, the man who owns it, what a clever dog you have here. Now, I know a trick. And he said, well, let's see it. I said, no. I said, will your dog do a trick if I ask him? He said, no, he won't. He only does tricks for me. Now, you might actually be asking yourself why it is that an Irishman was speaking in a Portuguese accent. Fortunately, I can only do a Portuguese accent. Oh, anyway. He said, this dog will only do tricks for me. And there was a very nice-looking gentleman standing there, and he said, I'll bet you £5 this dog will do what I tell him. £5, just in case you're not familiar with our currency, would just about buy you a breakfast here. As long as you're not very hungry, you know, it's a little breakfast. Anyway, he said, I'll bet you £5 this dog will do what I tell him. And the Irishman said, well, it's a pity to take the money. I know he won't do that. He said, but I'll take the money to teach you a lesson. I'll bet you the £5. So this chap picked the dog up, put him on the fire, and said, all right, get off. And he did. I was there. I I saw it myself. Do you know, quite seriously, now I come to think of it, I believe it was a pretzel.